Okay, it's 7 o'clock. I'm going to call the meeting to order. Roll call and declaration of quorum, please.
Dr. Matusi.
Here.
Mr. Simrod.
Here.
Mr. Lau.
Present.
Mrs. Charmison here. Mr. Painter.
Here.
I'd like to welcome all our visitors, our building principals, minus Mr. Tarango, who's a new father this morning. So we want to congratulate Mr. Tarango on that for sure. But welcome to our local media as well. Any public comments? Mr. Painter, do you mind looking at that sheet over there? I would think not unless Mr. Crosswhite signed up to talk to us. All right. No other comments on 2.2.
No, sir.
We're going to move to consent agenda. We are going to remove agenda item 3.8 due to the lack of a current contract. So we're removing 3.8. Do any of the other board members have any items on the consent agenda that you would wish to pull off and speak to specifically? Any questions? Okay, seeing none, I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Dr. Matusi.
Yes.
Mr. Simrod.
Yes.
Mr. Lau.
Aye.
Mrs. Charmison. Yes. Mr. Painter.
Yes.
Okay. Agenda item 4, regular business. 4.1, discussion and possible board action regarding changes to the following board policies as listed.
So the board policies listed, and in your board packet, they were highlighted as where the changes came in. And those changes, I've talked to you before, like whether they're mandatory as required by legislation or the State Department, changes in rules, or they're discretionary, where it's kind of our choice. These in here, these are all going to be by statute, something that's been added to wording, a requirement. They've, just want to clarify something. In the sick leave, for example, they discuss maternity leave, and they go in detail of what qualifies for that. Background checks on employees, that was new, not new, just new for us. There's something that really just housekeeping that we needed to get in there. Dispensing medicine change there is that we'll make sure everybody that does it is trained. We've always done that anyway. Now you just got to put it in writing. Reemployment of teachers, added willful failure to report suspected child abuse or neglect, and then what happens if you don't do that. So everything in here is housekeeping and just getting things up to meet legal requirements.
So all policy changes were mandated or change in state
Yeah,
policy?
there was something that we didn't have and needed to update, yes.
Do I have a motion to approve 4.1?
I'll make a motion to approve 4.1.
Second.
Dr. Matusi.
Yes.
Mr. Simrod.
Yes.
Mr. Lau.
Aye.
Mrs. Charmison. Yes. Mr. Painter.
Yes.
Agenda item 4.2, discussion and possible board action regarding a transfer of $2,000 from the general fund to the activity fund to correct a deposit made to the wrong account in June 2025.
And what it showed in your encumbrances is this was money that was given to us for a scholarship fund. We thought it was supposed to go in general fund, and it's actually into the activity fund account. So it just clarifies it that that's a standalone action item. So that's what I would recommend to the board.
I make a motion to approve the where was I? The transfer of the $2,000 from the general fund to the activity fund.
Second.
Dr. Matusi.
Yes.
Mr. Simrod.
Yes.
Mr. Lau.
Aye.
Mrs. Charmison. Yes. Mr. Painter.
Yes.
Agenda item 4.3, discussion and possible board action regarding changes to the middle school and high school handbook.
So on the middle school, there are 2 recommended changes on it. On page 9, bullet 2, that was just a change where they've changed the wording in state law where it's from more than 10 absences to 10% of classes that count on missing. So they just clarified that. And then the other is on page 17, changing what was our local electronic device policy and making it the district. He's putting that in the handbook. And then for the high school, Mr. Faulkner has a few more, and he's going to explain a little bit more in detail on what he has.
I wanted to start first with ones that weren't necessarily required, but we just wanted to kind of bring some clarity, I guess, to them on our honors, the wording in our honors program and what it takes to qualify to be a part of that honors program, and then also what it takes to be chosen as a valedictorian. So there's wording that says and or, and that was confusing some people on, well, does it have to be both, or can it be one or the other? And its original design, I guess, was supposed to be like, oh, and or, meaning if they do both, they still qualify, but we changed that to or. So for the honors program graduates, for all of their state tests and then the ACT tests, they have to pass one or the other to be considered for the honors. So if they don't meet the benchmark for college readiness on the ACT, but they pass both of their state tests, then they could be considered for the honors program. Whereas and this is where the wording changes, beginning with the class of 2027, we did that because those kids have not yet taken the those exams they take their junior year. So that gives us time to make sure they understand that in order to qualify, to be a valedictorian, they would have to pass both. So that's kind of I guess the change really is, for honors, it can be either or. For valedictorian, we want them to have passed both, meet the college readiness benchmark for ACT and pass their state tests. So those are the only ones that were not required. Everything else was changes in policy, like the cell phone policy, things that the state sent us that we are required to add in, like the U.S. naturalization test, even though we've already been having the kids take that and they have to take it and pass it to graduate. It was just not in our policy, but they wanted us to put it in our policy. And then the addition of graduation requirements for class of 2030 and beyond was another required thing, but it's with this year's 8th graders, when they become freshmen, we're gonna look at a pretty significant shift in the way that we look at that. We're going away from, like, right now our handbook currently says 9 electives, and they're adding what are called pathway units. And sometime or another I can show you, I didn't bring any this evening, but I can print out as we get closer, and hopefully they send us more guidance on it. But there are all of these career pathways they have to choose from, and then their electives fall within one of those pathways. And of course, the English, science, social studies, math, that all is still required the same, except math, we can count 8th grade Algebra 1 now as a math credit, but they require each graduating senior, starting with that class, to have both 4 English and 4 math, where it's been 4 English and then 3 math, 3 science, 3 social studies. So starting with this year's 8th graders, they'll have to have 4 math, but that 8th grade algebra can count. So I wanted to kind of give a little bit of clarity to it, but there's, like I said, the changes are pretty big on that. So I don't know, do you guys have any questions looking over what I sent?
There will be further presentations on that.
There will. I will give you more on that.
Yeah, when we get more guidelines and
it's just very, and I was showing it to Mr. Sternberger, it's confusing, it's a little convoluted, but the more guidance we get, the more we're able to look at it, the better we'll be able to.
So you think there'll be some future changes?
There will have to be. I mean, I think we've got them in there the way that they have to be for the actual graduation requirements portion, but just to kind of, I guess, educate both the board and the public about, like, these are the changes coming for these students. We'll have to do a little bit more. Now, the handbook, though, may not need to change. It just may need to be, I present to you guys.
How much are the students exposed to the handbook?
Not a ton. I mean, we go over it at the start of the year. It's available to them. We've never, since I've been here, and this was practiced before I got here, but we've never printed it. It's always been shared electronically in some way, shape, or form. I mean, like that first day of school, I'll go over things in the handbook. Graduation requirements, though, are gone over very thoroughly with all of the graduates. So especially those that are seeking honors or wanting to be valedictorians, they are made aware of all of those requirements very thoroughly.
Anybody have any other questions? I'll make a motion to approve the changes as listed to the middle school and high school handbook.
Second.
Dr. Matusek?
Yes.
Mr. Simrod?
Yes.
Mr. Lau?
Aye.
Mrs. Charmison? Yes. Mr. Painter?
Yes.
Agenda item 4.4, discussion and possible board action regarding the following emergency plans and procedures.
So each year, just a standard act that we have to do is approve these. Of course, we update those, have to update emergency contact numbers. We get together with Nurse Musney, principals, ADs, talk about the changes that we possibly need. Hasn't been anything major in any of these of what we're doing, but that's just something that presented that you have to review and approve every year.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the following emergency plans and procedures: the Hennessey Public Schools Emergency Action Plan, Chase Morris Sudden Cardiac Arrest Response Plan, the Riley Boat Ride Act Emergency Plan Policy, and the emergency procedures.
Second.
Dr. Matusek?
Yes.
Mr. Simrod?
Yes.
Mr. Lau?
Aye.
Mrs. Charmison? Yes. Mr. Painter?
Yes.
Agenda item 4.4, discussion and possible board action regarding financial correction for the fiscal year 2025 due to a payment made out of the sinking fund instead of the bond fund in the amount of $234,999.99.
So this is the yearly part of, due to the lease revenue on the dome. And so it's separate than the big payment we have. And so when this came in, we just accidentally paid it out of the sinking fund. We accidentally paid it out of the sinking fund instead of the bond fund. Yeah.
So now you just transfer it back, I guess. to-
Yeah. Now, you guys knowing what we did now allows us to transfer it back and be good with OCAS.
So moved.
Second.
Dr. Matusek?
Yes.
Mr. Simrod?
Yes.
Mr. Lau?
Aye.
Mrs. Charmison? Yes. Mr. Painter?
Yes.
Agenda item 4.6, discussion and possible board action regarding meal prices for the 25-26 school year.
So I have the 24-25 prices there at the bottom of the sheet. And then on the 25-26, and of course, this is recommendations. When people fill out if they qualify and there's a factor that they have based on how many kids and how many people live in the household.
I've got them all beat.
If they meet that threshold, then that kid qualifies for free and then or reduced, just depending on parental income. As this past year, you've seen a mandate that where SDE wanted all schools to pay for lunches. We actually tried that 2 years ago, if you guys will remember right, and we started the year with about $100,000 in the Child Nutrition Fund and finished with right at 20, went into it about 80,000. And so it doesn't take long to realize that that's not going to sustain itself very long. So, we're right at, this past year, we're right at 73% free and or reduced. If we can get to that 80% threshold, I think we get back on track where we could go back to eating every kid free. But that 7%, that's about where it costs. So what I was wanting to do is just try to get that, basically that 27% we have. We know we have a lot of people that know they don't qualify and they don't fill them out. Okay, that's fine. But we have some that just don't fill them out for whatever reason, skepticism, just don't want people seeing what they make. And I get all the reasons. But to try to encourage that, what I'd like to do is, if somebody fills out the form, well, first of all, just go to the full pay at the top. We currently are charging $1.60 for breakfast this past year. Just raise that to $2. Lunch was $2.90 last year, raise it to $3. Nice even numbers. But if parents, even knowingly, they know they don't qualify, still turn in the form just so we can try to increase participation, you automatically get a discounted rate. Now, the discounted rate I have was 50% off. You know, one of the things, I mean, that's an arbitrary number that we can change. But I just think to start off with, to see where that lands us, we can monitor it through a semester, and if we need to increase it, we can. If we want to decrease it, we can. And so one of the things too that I wanted to visit with you about
How do you
is,
qualify for the discounted rate? Is this through,
that's just if you just fill out the form.
Okay.
And you just turn it back in and sign off on that.
doesn't matter how you,
And we don't double check numbers. That's one thing. We don't double check anybody's numbers. That's not our job. We send them in, they verify them. Okay? So, you know, everybody who just fills out the form, you know, gets the discounted rate. And then those that get the free and or reduced automatic, you know, they get the free and or reduced. One thing to help offset this loss too that we're doing, but not only just because of financially it helps offset it, but I think it's a good service to provide for our kids. And this will start sometime after September, but is offer the third meal program. And I visited with the principals, but basically after school, it'd be an opportunity for kids to come in, go through the line, and get a free meal before they go home. And it won't be like a hot prepared meal every time. It'd be, you know, something semi-quick, but it'd be an opportunity for kids to come in. Obviously, we're trying to figure out a way to probably target more elementary kids, you know.
So is this a pick up and go?
It's not supposed to be a pick up and go, no, but a lot of times it may be a Crustable. So they also aren't hired to be the policeman either of it, nor are we. So, but it's intended to sit down, yes. So we're looking, we've talked to the principals about maybe delaying bus routes a little bit. And then that way we can just wheel them down to the classrooms. You know, we got to see what all regulations we can do or can't do. Maybe we could run them down to the classrooms and all kids could grab a Crustable before they go home. I don't know. So those are things that Francis is checking on to see what we can do, but obviously just trying to increase that participation on that. So with that, one thing I'd like to point out too is the very far right column where it says breakfast, adults is $2.40, lunch is $5. That is based off last year's numbers, which is based off a formula. So the recommendation to you guys on the meal prices for this year is going to be what you see in the first three columns, unless anybody has any questions or wants to raise or lower that discounted rate. But for the adults over on the far right, it will be that number or whatever the state says is the minimum. So if the state says lunch, we have to charge $5.10, it'll go to $5.10. So that would be the recommendation with that. We haven't got that formula, we haven't got that number to us yet. So does that make sense? Because they tell us what we have to charge the adults, and we have to charge a bare minimum for them, and kids for that matter, but on the full pay.
and how does OPA stay within?
So OPA, their price, when they bid that, it's considerably less than, considerably less. And so we pay them, then we get reimbursed,
Then you get
dependent, based on what, if a child is free, reduced, or full pay.
Anybody have any other questions?
You're wanting to reevaluate it after the first semester?
Yes, sir. Yeah, we'll see where that third meal program, what that's done for us, and really try to track that, and then how many kids are taking advantage of it.
Yeah.
So it won't be every student for the third meal. I remember a few years ago, they put it in every kid's backpack, I feel like.
Okay, that was a different program.
Okay,
That was the
okay.
after-school program.
Okay,
Yeah, that
okay.
was not this, no.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you need a motion to change those
So-
prices?
No, if everybody is comfortable with that discounted rate of basically where we're going half off, then my recommendation to the board would be to take those top numbers as is, with the caveat of the adult lunch or breakfast may change, but it won't go any higher than what the state minimum is at that time. And that would be my recommendation to the board.
So you need a motion for that, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Dr. Matusek?
Yes.
Mr. Zimmerman?
Yes.
Mr. Lau?
Aye.
Mrs. Charmison? Yes. Mr. Payne?
Yes.
Agenda item 5, new business.
No new business items to act upon.
Superintendent report.
On facilities, just one thing that I wanted to follow up on after I mentioned to you about the elementary music room taking in water, and after we went out and really inspected it, you can see when you look on the east wall, it's right there as you're walking into Mr. Crosswhite's building, just right there. You can see where the ground has just sunk in to the wall. So when that water's running down, I mean, it's just backloading underneath and then eventually coming up. So we're going to run about a 5 foot sidewalk right there, not necessarily a sidewalk, but just getting the water further out. And Buddy came out and looked at it today, thought 5 feet would be more than plenty. So
5 feet north-south, or
it would
5
be
feet out from the building?
It would be 5 feet out from the building, running the entire
The
length.
entire length.
Yes.
Going north.
Running, yeah, the parallel line would be north-south.
Right.
So 5 feet directly running.
Does that need to happen on both sides of the entrance?
We haven't had an issue on the library side.
Okay.
So, well, that'll be the first step in trying to conquer that problem of that water coming up, and we had to replace
When did
carpet.
that problem start?
It was before I got here, wasn't it, Mr. Crosswhite?
It's always kind of been a problem area since I've been here. So.
Okay. But we've replaced that carpet like my first year or second, and then again this past year. So we'll try to get that.
Does that water come off of that building in a gutter, or does it come straight off? Is there a gutter system up there?
I don't believe so.
Yeah. That it on facilities?
That is, yes, sir.
Agenda item 7, personnel. 7.1, discussion and possible board action regarding the employment of the following support staff for the 2025-26 school year. There are 4 paraprofessionals that I will let Mr. Sternberger list.
I'd like to recommend the following for employment as paraprofessionals: Jackie Harris Hancock, Jacqueline Rodriguez Lopez, Jasmine Vasquez, and Denise Estrada.
So moved.
Second.
Dr. Matusek?
Yes.
Mr. Simrod?
Yes.
Mr. Lau?
Aye.
Mrs. Charmison?
Yes.
Mr. Payne?
Yes.
Agenda item 7.2, discussion and possible board action regarding an increase in substitute teacher pay.
So just in a comparison and to stay competitive with fellow districts that we have, we're currently at 70 and 80, so we're requesting to go to 75 and 85. That'd be 75 for non-certified and 85 for certified substitutes.
So moved.
Second.
Dr. Matusek?
Yes.
Mr. Simrod?
Yes.
Mr. Lau?
Aye.
Mrs. Charmison?
Yes.
Mr. Payne?
Yes.
Anybody want to go home? Is everybody fine staying up here? Agenda item 8, adjournment.
I will make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Dr. Matusek?
Yes.
Mr. Simrod?
Yes.
Mr. Lau?
Aye.
Mrs. Charmison?
Yes.
Mr. Payne?
Yes.